Hi guys, and welcome back to Holidays Around the World. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Megan Stewart. I'm the museum educator here at the Kamloops Museum and Archives, and I'm so excited. Today we are going to be talking a little bit about Hanukkah. Just before we begin though, I would like to acknowledge that we are located on Kamloops Secwepemc territory within the traditional and unceded lands of the Secwepemc Nation. Now, Hanukkah is a Jewish holiday that centers around the Hanukkah miracle, when oil that should have only lasted for one night lasted for 8 nights after the Jews had risen up against their Greek-Syrian oppressors in the Maccabean revolt. Because of this, many Hanukkah traditions center around oil and light. It's also known as the Festival of Lights. So 9 candles, 8 for each of the nights, and 1 helper candle to light them, are lit over the course of this 8-day holiday and placed in a special candle holder called a menorah. So some of you might recall that when we were talking a little bit about Kwanzaa, they had a similar tradition where they were placing candles into a special holder. So for Hanukkah, it's called a menorah. And these menorahs are often displayed in people's windows, particularly to symbolize this festival of lights. Also, many traditions around food during Hanukkah center around oil, so lots of stuff that's deliciously deep fried, potato pancakes called latkes, and jam-filled donuts. And if you've never tried potato latkes, I highly recommend them. They are very delicious. Hanukkah also includes playing games with a 4-sided top called a dreidel and exchanging gifts. And if you're curious about how the game is played with a dreidel, you can ask your grown-up to give it a Google. There are many videos that will teach you how to play, and there are tons of crafts out there that will teach you how to make a dreidel of your own. And because it falls so close to Christmas, Hanukkah has really taken off in a major commercial way, especially in recent years. But interestingly enough, in the Jewish faith, it remains a relatively minor holiday. It places no restrictions on working, attending school, or other activities like some of the high holidays do. And since so much of Hanukkah revolves around the celebration of light, today we are going to be making mason jar lanterns. So for this activity, you will need a mason jar, some acrylic paint, and some masking tape, as well as a candle, real or fake like I've got here, in order to light your lamp. Now, we're going to be decorating our lamps with the Star of David, which is a 6-pointed star that is an official symbol of the Jewish community. It is found on synagogues, Jewish tombstones, and the state flag of Israel. And the Star of David in Hebrew actually translates to be the Shield of David, and it was first adopted in the 17th century, so a really long time ago. And in the 19th century, the Star of David was almost universally adopted by the Jewish community as a striking and simple emblem of Judaism, similar to the way that a cross would be used in Christianity. Now, for our lamps, we are going to be making the Star of David. My suggestion to you is to make it out of masking tape. I actually found this to be the most difficult part of this craft. So be sure you cut your masking tape nice and thin. You might also have better luck if you use a larger mason jar than I have chosen. I found it very difficult to get the little triangles to all line up, so if you figure out a really good way to do that, please let me know. So you're going to go ahead and take that masking tape, cut it into nice thin strips, and then place it onto your jar. And the Star of David is essentially 2 triangles, one right way up, one upside down, layered over each other. So once you've got that all sorted out, we are going to start painting. So I'm going to use yellow, blue, and white paint today, as well as some glitter. If you don't have acrylic paint at home, don't worry too much about it. You also have the option to do this craft using a tin can. I know I've seen people use tin cans. You poke some holes in it in the pattern that you want, so if you wanted to make the Star of David on there, and then you put your candle inside the tin can and it casts a beautiful glow as well. So a couple options for this craft. So we're going to get started. I'm going to put the yellow paint on first, and I'm going to use that to go right over my star. So one of the things I found with my example is if you put the paint too thickly over the paint or over the tape, it will actually peel the paint off when you go to take the tape off. So try not to do that as much as you can. Try to just get a little bit onto the tape. So I'm going to go ahead and start filling in my star. And you can put this paint on as thick or as light as you would like, but remember that you want the light of your candle to shine through here. So keep that in mind as you're putting the paint on. Here we go. And then I'm going to continue. I'm going to make just sort of the star kind of glow around the outside. After all, we are celebrating light, and that is what Hanukkah is all about, celebrating light. There we go. So just adding on that little bit of a glow. There we go. All right, and then I'm going to rinse my paintbrush, and I'm going to go ahead and put on some white paint as well. So blue and white, very traditional colors around Hanukkah. So we'll go ahead and get out our white paint now. So as you can see, I've painted my star. When you do this, make sure you let your paint dry for a good long time before you start trying to peel that tape off. And actually, just before I put my white tape on, I am going to add some glitter to my star. So I'm just going to sprinkle that on top here. And just a little bit of glitter will probably do me. There we go. And as the paint dries, that should stick on there nicely. So now I'm going to add some white paint on here. So again, acrylic paint so that it will stick to the glass. You could try this craft with tempera paint, but I don't think it will stick all that well onto glass. So I'm going to just add a little bit of white paint all along the sides here. Again, I'm going to put this on fairly lightly so that my candle will glow through when I'm finished. So you can see that's about how thick I'm going to put mine on. There we go. So I'm going to put that all the way around here, onto the back. And then I'm going to just grab a little bit more paint for the other side. So making sure we get both sides with that white paint. And again, just putting it on nice and lightly. You can see it's dripping a little bit, so make sure if you're working with paint that you're putting down some newspaper or an old tablecloth. And of course, wearing clothes you don't mind getting dirty. There we go. All right, so now I've got my white on there all the way around. Coming up next to my star, and I'm going to rinse off my brush one more time, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of blue. So we'll go ahead and close this guy up. Rinse off our brush. And add some blue onto here. Now, as always, if you watched our episode about Kwanzaa, you might remember me saying, please, if your family celebrates Hanukkah, if you have traditions or crafts or stories that you'd like to share with us, please feel free to do so. In the comments is fine, or on our social media as well. We'd love to hear from you. Whoop, there we go. And I'm going to just put some little blue dots all along the top here. It's all around the top. And of course, feel free to make your lamp your own. So any color and any sort of different designs that you want to do, feel free to do those. I'm going to add just a few little blue stripes right along the side here right next to my star as well. Let's just add a little bit more blue. There we go. Perfect. All right, so this guy's going to need to dry for quite a while before I can actually take that tape off, but I can give you a little bit of a demonstration with my lamp over here. Now, you can see, of course, when I took this one off, some of the triangle bits in the star did peel off, so try to make sure you make those nice and big so that the paint has a good chance to stick. And then you're going to just want to turn your candle on and pop it in there. There we go. And then you can turn the lights out and have a look at your candle lantern. So thank you guys so much for celebrating Hanukkah with me and learning a little bit more about it. And again, if you have traditions, crafts, if you want to share your candle lantern, please feel free to send a picture of it to us. We'd love to see them. And we will see you for our next episode of Holidays Around the World. Thank you so much for joining me. Bye for now.